Hey there, I'm just going to review what Una and I worked on last Tuesday. So we started off by going for a bit of a walk. So you can see I want to start by kind of having her wait at the gate. But I don't just want her waiting, I then want for when I raise her, for her to turn back to me. So after I raise her, I'm going to call her name and see if she's able to turn back to me. And if not, I'm going to reset until we can have that nice, successful check-in after going through the gate. So then we're going to start having our walk. And we're going to have a pretty nice walk all the way around. She's doing a great job keeping pace with me and checking in. Every so often, she moves a little bit ahead or gets a little bit distracted. And I'm just going to wait for her to get back in sync with me, especially if it's a mild distractor, like just a person walking by or she moves ahead a little bit, then I'll say whoops and wait for her to come back to me. If it's a harder distraction, like the squirrels, then I might start helping her. Similarly, you're going to see me start to add some distance between marking and treating, especially when we're in a less distracting environment. Versus if we're about to pass a person or some squirrels, I'm going to up that rate of reinforcer so that way she's able to stick with me more easily. So we're going to have a really nice walk here. There's definitely a few squirrels on the park side that make it a little bit difficult to keep her attention. So you can see I'm going to stop, wait for her to check back in with me. As soon as she does, I'm going to mark and treat. And sometimes I will then rapidly treat a few times just to have it sink in that she's getting reinforced for sticking with me. The squirrels were particularly hard today versus you'll see once we go more into the more urban setting where there's less squirrels and birds, she's going to do a really nice job of keeping pace with me. There's even going to be times when we're passing by people and she's going to do a nice job of ignoring them and keeping pace with me. So I'm going to cut forward to some of those moments so that I can highlight them. This is a nice moment that I wanted to highlight. We're going to get to the edge of a street and I just stop and she goes into a nice auto sit, which I'm going to mark and treat for and then say let's go so that we can start walking again. And she's going to do a nice job keeping pace with me. You see we just passed by a couple of people who are walking the other way and she did a really nice job of ignoring them and just staying with me. Again, she was a little bit farther away from me when that person passed by, but she immediately went from looking at them to checking back in with me and getting closer to me. I always want to be sure to mark and then treat in the position that I want her to be in. So I'll sometimes mark for just checking in with me, but then I'm going to present the treat at my side so that she has to return to that position to get the treat. And then we're going to get to this side of Mueller where it's a bit quieter. There's a lot more like delivery trucks and stuff, but not as many people or animals around. And this is where we're really able to get some distance between our treats because she's able to have a much easier time with this walking. And then once we turn the corner and start heading closer to the house, that's when it becomes more difficult again. But you can see she's doing a nice job with those auto sits and waiting to cross the street. Every so often she does move ahead, like right there, and then I'm just going to have her return to heel position so we can start walking forward together again. She gets a little bit distracted here by a person walking by, so I do end up kind of prompting her back just to help her disengage from the person and check back in with me. So she does really well for usage walking all the rest of the way to the house. I cut out most of it just for the sake of time. But when we do get back to the house, there's a lot of squirrels playing in a tree right across from the house, and it becomes very distracting for her. So much so that she has some trouble disengaging on her own. So I'm going to use that treat there to bring her back to me. And then we're going to do a little bit of a pattern game to help bring her focus back to me. So you can see I'm going to be doing that pin gem pattern game. So I'm going to toss a treat to one side. And then when she checks back in with me, I'm going to toss it to the other side. When she checks back in, I'm going to toss it again to the first side. And just repeating that pattern. This is going to help her focus on me and reinforce her for checking in with me. But also, since I'm tossing the treat, she's getting to do a little bit of that chase, which is what she's really wanting to do with the squirrels. She's wanting to chase them, so it's just allowing her to fulfill that, but in a little bit of a different way. So once inside, I wanted to work on some place, both as just a nice behavior to work on, but also as kind of a continuation from what we were doing while she was boarding with me. We wanted to work on some relaxation and some departure cues because it was a little hard for her when I would leave. So we're going to start. I wanted to see if we could kind of start winding down from our training today. With a play session and then work on some departure cues. So we're doing day 3 of this relaxation protocol. This is the same one that we did at my house that she was successful with and got through the whole thing without getting off the place once. But I wanted to repeat it again at your house just to make sure she was generalizing it. And she does a really nice job here. Being able to go through the whole thing without moving off her bed until I release her at the end. So she's doing a really nice job with this, and I think this is just going to kind of help her with being able to be separate from us and be more comfortable with those departure cues. So I do have this part on triple speed just to kind of squeeze in as much in as little time as possible. But I'm also going to cut out some in the middle here, just kind of for the sake of time. The recording ends at a bit of an easier note of just me increasing some duration with her. And once it finishes up, I'm just going to release her with a free and kind of toss a treat off the bed for her. And I was really glad that when I left today, she didn't do any sort of whining or distress signs about me leaving. I know she was cuddling with you at this point, but it was still really great progress.